Nobody tells you the truth about money when you're young enough for it to matter. They give you advice that sounds right. Save more, spend less, invest early. And then they watch you ignore it, because advice without understanding is just noise. Here's the truth. Most people will reach their 50s having earned a significant amount of money over their lifetime and having almost nothing to show for it. Not because they were irresponsible, not because they had bad luck, because they were playing a game they didn't fully understand by rules nobody clearly explained. That should make you uncomfortable. It should make you wonder which rules you're currently misunderstanding. The tension is this: the financial mistakes that cost people the most aren't dramatic. They're not a single catastrophic decision. They're a pattern of small, reasonable-seeming choices that compound quietly in the wrong direction for years before the damage becomes visible. You don't notice lifestyle inflation while it's happening. You notice it when you look up one day and realize that someone earning half your salary has somehow accumulated more wealth than you. You don't notice the cost of buying cheap things until you've replaced the same item 4 times. You don't notice the opportunity cost of unspent money until you understand what compound growth actually means over 30 years. By the time most people see the pattern, they've already lost the years that mattered most. Here's the idea that changes the frame entirely. Every financial decision you make is actually a decision about time. Not money, time. At a 7% real return, the historical average of a basic index fund, nothing exotic, money doubles every 10 years. $100 invested at 25 becomes $1,600 at 65. That's not a projection based on optimistic assumptions. That's just arithmetic applied to historical data, which means every dollar you spend casually at 25 isn't a dollar. It's $16 of future purchasing power converted into something you'll likely forget within a month. Nobody explains it this way. They say invest early without showing you the actual exchange rate between present spending and future options. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. The question stops being, can I afford this? And starts being, what am I actually trading for this? Now here's where it gets more uncomfortable. Most financial problems aren't financial problems. They're behavioral problems wearing financial disguises. The research on this is extensive and consistent. People who understand exactly what they should do with money, who can articulate compound interest, diversification, the importance of low-cost index funds, still make emotional decisions with their portfolios. They sell during market downturns because it feels prudent. They chase investments that have already peaked because everyone around them is making money. They check their portfolio daily and let short-term noise affect long-term decisions. Knowing what to do and doing it under pressure are completely different skills. And the spending side is no different. Stress triggers online shopping. Insecurity triggers purchases designed to signal status to people who aren't paying attention. Boredom gets monetized. Every transaction has an emotional history that has nothing to do with the item being purchased. This is why budgets fail, not because people don't understand math, because willpower alone cannot override deep emotional patterns indefinitely. You have to understand why you're spending before you can change how you're spending. Let's talk about the status game specifically, because this one quietly drains more wealth than almost anything else. In your 30s, there's enormous social pressure, much of it invisible, much of it self-generated, to display success through objects. The car, the watch, the renovated kitchen, the vacation that photographs well. Each purchase feels justified, you're earning more, you deserve to live better. And honestly, part of you wants people to notice. Here's what actually happens. They don't. Not really. Your neighbor sees the new car for 30 seconds and goes back to thinking about his own finances. The watch gets a passing glance. The renovation gets one compliment at a dinner party. The people who do judge you by your possessions, their opinions were never worth optimizing for. Meanwhile, you've locked yourself into ongoing costs, maintenance, insurance, the subtle anxiety of owning things that require protection and upkeep. You're not enjoying the objects, you're managing them. Status through stuff is a game with no winning condition. The goalposts always move. Something nicer always exists. Someone always has more. The only way to win is to stop playing. Here's the part that most people feel but never articulate clearly. Financial insecurity and financial security feel fundamentally different, and the difference has almost nothing to do with the luxury of the objects around you. I've seen people with expensive things and no savings. The nice car in the driveway while the credit card balance climbs, the renovated house while the emergency fund sits at zero. That combination is exhausting in a way that's hard to describe. You're enjoying nice things while quietly terrified of what happens if anything goes wrong. Every unexpected expense is a crisis. Every month is a calculation. And I've seen the opposite. Modest lifestyle, substantial savings, clear sense of where things stand. That version is peaceful in a way that no luxury purchase ever replicates. You know you can handle surprises. Options exist. The baseline emotional state is calm rather than anxious. A 10-year-old car with a fully funded emergency fund feels better than a new car with nothing in savings. Not in theory. In practice, every day, security provides peace continuously. Status provides a brief spike and then becomes the new normal within weeks. The concept of enough is something almost nobody defines, and the absence of that definition is quietly devastating. Without a specific number, enough never arrives. Every level of wealth reveals a new level to aspire to. People with $10 million report the same low-grade financial anxiety as people with $1 million because the anxiety was never about the amount. It was about the undefined target. There's a straightforward calculation. Your desired annual expenses multiplied by 25. That's the number, based on standard safe withdrawal rate research, that allows your investments to sustain your lifestyle indefinitely. It's not a feeling, it's a specific, calculable, achievable number. Most people never do this calculation, so they're running toward a finish line that doesn't exist. And running forever toward nothing is its own particular kind of exhausting. Define the number, make it specific, then at least you'll know when you've won. And here's the final thing, the one that takes the longest to actually feel, not just understand intellectually. Money is a tool for reclaiming time. That's it. That's the entire point. Not to accumulate the maximum possible balance before you die, not to display success to people who aren't paying close attention, to reach a point where your time belongs to you, and then actually use it for things that matter. The mistake that costs people the most isn't a bad investment or an overpriced purchase. It's spending decades in the accumulation phase while quietly postponing the living phase. Telling yourself you'll slow down once things stabilize, once the mortgage is paid, once the kids are through school, once you hit the next number. Some of what gets missed during those years cannot be recovered. The relationships that needed presence, not money, the experiences that had a window, the version of yourself that existed before the accumulation became the entire point. I want to be honest about something before I finish. Reading this, you probably recognized yourself in at least one of these patterns, maybe more than one. That recognition is uncomfortable. It's supposed to be. But recognition without change is just self-awareness theater. Most people who encounter these ideas will find them interesting, will feel the discomfort briefly, and will then continue exactly as they were, because that's what people do. Advice changes behavior when consequences make it unavoidable, and not usually before. So here's the question I'll leave you with, and I'm not going to soften it. What are you waiting for? Not in the motivational sense, genuinely. What specific condition needs to be met before you start making different decisions? What does the future version of you, the one who figured this out, look like? And how many years separate you from that version? Because those years are passing. Right now, while you're reading this, the math is running whether you're paying attention to it or not. You already know more than enough to start. The question was never about knowledge.